Good afternoon and welcome to today's presentation. Thank you for joining me. My name is Emma from EC Right, and today I'm going to be sharing my top 5 tips to help your business get noticed on Instagram. Feel free to grab a pen and paper if you would like to take some notes. Before we get started, I'd like to start off by asking you a question. When it comes to Instagram, do you feel frustrated, like you are just wasting your time and despite showing up consistently, still aren't seeing results? Now, before we carry on, one of the things I would like to really stress is despite COVID and despite the second lockdown, please do not stop marketing your business. Even if you're face to face, it is really essential that you show up, not just for yourself, but for your customers as well, who are going to be looking for reassurance at an uncertain time. So, how do we show up and how can we put our name out there? The first place we need to start is optimizing that bio of yours. Now, for those of you that don't know, your bio is that lovely little bit at the top, which allows 150 characters, and it looks a little bit like this. Now, one of the things that you may or may not know is that this bold headline, which is the name field, is more than just a name field. You can actually use this as a way to attract potential new clients. How do we do this? Well, if you go to the magnifying glass on your phone and then select the account tab, you can type in a couple of keywords to describe your location or niche. So, for example, if you are a yoga coach and you're based in Wokingham, why not put Wokingham Yoga Coach within your name field and it will appear like this. Just make sure that it's very clear who you are and what you do, because when you send a direct message to somebody, that will appear. Now, of course, also the other thing you can do is when you type in the keyword, just have a look at the list to see how much competition there is. You don't want it to be too highly saturated because you want to be one of the first to appear at the top, but use niche words too much and then you won't be discovered at all. Now, hashtag, those annoying little things that are the absolute bane of our lives, but really essential part of Instagram. Now, one of the things you can avoid doing with hashtags is placing generic hashtags in your bio. Now, a lot of people said to me, well, surely this will get more people on my page if I have a hashtag such as fitness. Believe it or not, it has a negative impact on your engagement because what it actually does is the moment that your ideal client clicks on that little hashtag, they are automatically taken away from your page. And as we all know, once we've gone off somewhere, we fall down a rabbit hole that is Instagram and we just keep mindlessly scrolling. So what can we do instead? Why not create a brand hashtag that is unique to you and your business and encourage your audience to use this when they're either sharing some favorite outfits, perhaps if they bought some clothes from your shop, or if they're consuming your product, grazing platters, or even if they're sharing their progress on your nutrition plan. This is a really good way for you to build social proof, the genuine connection, the like, know, and trust factor, and so much more. If you're not sure whether the hashtag has been used, just go to the search bar, go to the hashtag option, and type it in and see if anybody else is using that. The Ribbons Network, for example, uses a hashtag which you may have heard of. Our network is your network. So try and keep it nice and simple and easy for people to remember, because the more easy it is for us to remember and spell, the more likely we are to use it. And one of the things you can also do is each week do a weekly roundup. It doesn't have to be on a Friday, it could be Tuesday. Pick a key day that works for you. If you're not sure what day to use, maybe have a look at your insights tool, which you can access once you have 100 followers on your business account. So one of the things I would also say is just try to make sure you don't share any more than 5 accounts, otherwise it starts to look spammy and not authentic. So how are we going to keep it real? Well, one of the things at the moment, as I'm sure all of you are aware, is Reels is really doing well, pardon the pun. And the reason for that is because it's video content, you can put your face to your business, it's short, it's snappy, it's sweet. But before you go feeling pressured into filming a reel, you need to keep it real. You need to make sure that you are being your authentic self. And what do I mean by that? If pointing at captions and dancing to the latest hits is not your thing, guess what? You don't have to do it. It's your social account, it's your Instagram account. Nobody else should be dictating what you should or shouldn't do. And if it doesn't feel aligned with your values and what you stand for, then that will come across, especially in video. So what can we do instead? If you don't feel comfortable doing a reel, that's absolutely fine. Why not use the reel function to share some behind the scenes of your business? There's no need for you to feature in it. You could do a little tour of your office. Just make sure you think about data protection and are mindful of that when sharing things such as computer screens and your desk. Another thing you could do is an IGTV weekly series. So for example, if you're a fitness instructor, maybe share your top 5 tips on how to achieve a better nutritional life. Also, you can do some short clips on the Instagram stories option, which means you can record it, watch it back, make sure you're happy with it. And of course, encourage your audience to give you feedback with your interactive features. If you don't feel confident using video and have never done it before, my advice to you would be go into a networking group or a confidence building group, such as the Ribbons group, and share a little live and ask for feedback. I promise you it really isn't that scary, and we're all there to support you. Alternatively, feel free to film a video and send it to myself, and I'll be more than happy to give you some feedback there, absolutely free of charge. It doesn't matter if you stumble over your words or forget what you were saying, because your audience wants to connect with the real you. And this is something that I can completely relate to, because guess what? Despite being an Instagram coach, I get nervous too. And as a networking host, it can be pretty scary sitting there in front of 30 odd people, 20 people, and the thought of all eyes on you. But it really is going to help you to accelerate your business. Now, of course, the one thing that we all want to know, how do we find our niche? Well, of course, hashtags again. I know you don't like them, but trust me, they're really going to help you. So your hashtags, if you don't already know, you need to be using 30 because this is the maximum that Instagram allows for. Ideally, because obviously that is quite a large number, place it in the first comment so it doesn't look spammy and means that your caption is going to be lovely and easy for your audience to read. Now, if you are really looking to target a particular type of individual, perhaps based on your location, for example, then that's where niche hashtags come in. These are hashtags that have 100,000 posts or less underneath it. So how do we know exactly how many posts are underneath or associated with this hashtag? The hashtag will be in bold, and you will see in slightly light grey colour a number. This is the number you're looking for. Now, 632 is actually a medium-sized hashtag. 77 or 77 even is very, very niche. There's not many people using it. Now, that doesn't mean you can't use it. There's not a problem with that, but make sure you click on the recent tab. Make sure you see when it was last used. So for example, recent might not be yesterday, it might be 6 months ago, in which case I would advise you not to use it. And most importantly, once you have your 5 to 7 hashtags set, make sure every now and again you go back and check that none of the hashtags have been banned. But how do we know when the hashtag has been banned? Well, at the very top, as soon as you go onto one of these hashtags, a little banner will come up at the top and it will say this hashtag or the content under this hashtag has been hidden because it goes against community guidelines. So that's a little tip for you there. Brand recognition. Now, brand recognition, you will often hear graphic designers talking about, and of course these beautiful graphics over here have been created now by the lovely Abstract Print and Design. And one of the things I would say to you is that if you can afford to invest in a graphic designer, it really will help to pay dividends. It just creates a lovely professional appearance and consistency. However, if you are on a tight budget and you feel confident enough to use Canva, then keep on listening. So one of the things you need to do when you are doing your branding on your grid is consistency. So what do I mean by that? I mean the colors you're using, the font styles, even down to your grid layout. And the reason for this is because when someone goes onto your Instagram account, unfortunately, they can't see all of your posts. They're probably only going to see about the first 6 images or so. So what we want is that somebody that has followed you today is going to be getting the exact same message as someone that follows you in 3 months' time. You want to make sure that you're building like note and trust factor consistently, so everybody knows where they stand with you. And if you want to achieve this, then I would advise you to use no more than 2 to 3 key colors, ideally connected to a logo, have 2 to 3 font styles, and a grid layout. And there are apps that you can use to help you with this, sort of preview apps. And of course, on Canva, you can actually extract your color palette to create a brand from your brand kit. So it's definitely worth looking into. And if you want to create a template, I would advise you, if you're using a generic template, don't just use it off the bat. Make sure you adapt and switch up the colors so it is consistent with your branding. And of course, you can go over to my Instagram page where I share lots of tips on how to do this and mini training. Thank you ever so much for listening to today's free webinar. I have been Emma from EC Write. And of course, if you would like to access more free tips, video tutorials, and lots more, you can join my Insta Intel membership from just £30 a month. All you have to do is drop me an email at hello@ecwrite.co.uk. Thank you.